What's up, everybody? Today's episode, we hung out and just chatted with each other about all the crazy new Destiny stuff, the new season, our thoughts about it. We talked about Destiny for a decent amount of time, and then what we've been playing lately, Final Fantasy XIV, the online MMO, and a little bit about switching from Mixer to Twitch, which has been a big discussion lately. So it was a good talk, and I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome to the BxPerience. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's that time again. Got another podcast for you. Got a bunch of new stuff going on.
Yep.
In World of Destiny. Some big reveals about this next season that we're currently in. By the time you hear this, the fall expansion, and the fall expansion after that, and the fall expansion after that.
Wow. So much information.
So much stuff. So we'll get into what is going on in the current season later on, because we're going to dig into that a little bit. But, so we got Beyond Light.
Yep.
The
Witch Queen.
For some reason I want to say the Witching Queen, even though I just looked at the thing.
And Lightfall.
And Lightfall.
2020, 2021, and 2022. So 3 huge September releases that are going to be the 3 big expansions that are coming. It's really, really different of them to let us know what they're thinking that far ahead. Like, that's a big commitment.
That's weird. I had no idea. I was at work, I think, that day when all this stuff happened, and I heard talk about 2021 and 2022, and I was like, wait, what? What are we arguing about that already?
So what I think is kind of cool about that is it means that they've thought that far ahead.
Yeah.
Which means that they can start to put things together now to help us get there so that it makes sense. Story-wise and lore-wise and everything, so that the story is a little bit more cohesive. I mean, we don't have any sort of knowledge, I don't think, on how they've done that in the past.
Yeah.
Whether they think that far ahead or not, or whether they kind of just have a general idea, but they seem to have everything really
dialed in for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Which, on one hand, to me, might be a little concerning, knowing that they have everything locked in. It's does that allow them to change things quickly enough? Although I know it's just a story, but what if they realize the story pacing is too slow in one section? What are they going to do?
Well, I think that is kind of where the seasons come in.
Yeah.
Because if they're finding that they need to fit more in between or less, they can kind of just push and pull with the seasons a little bit, right? Because we don't know what seasons are coming in between there. We don't even know if they're going to keep the same season structure. They haven't said anything about that. I mean,
I imagine they would. That's their plan, which I get. I just would I do agree with a bunch of people I've heard say this, but I think just the season content overall is just a little bit too low.
It's a little bit thin, and I don't know if that is a resource issue. Maybe they just really are pushing out as much content as is physically possible for them.
Yeah. Or
maybe it's an oversight on what they think the community has wanted in the past. I know that they have said, they've owned up to the fact that things need to change, and the direction that they're heading looks really, really awesome. I don't know whether this season was kind of already locked in by the time that they were discussing changing things.
Well, because I know way back they were saying that as far as the direction story-wise, this season was setting up for the events in the fall expansion.
Yes. And I will say, the first mission of this season of Arrivals, was really cool.
Yeah.
It felt like a September release story mission. And I know that, we haven't even finished the story, so I can't.
The story mission.
I can't
request
confirm that I think there's one more quest or one more quest story mission thing.
Okay, I think that's the part I'm on.
I think that's the part that we're on. So I don't know what that one's like, and I haven't seen anybody play it. But I was very impressed with that level of story mission being added to a season, because we haven't really had that. If you look at the bunkers, we had these true. Like little cutscene type things we did like every 2-3 weeks or whatever.
That's fair.
And
then the sundial one.
The sundial one.
There wasn't a whole lot there. There was for
Drifter.
The pyramid. That was Shadowkeep.
That was Shadowkeep.
That's fair.
So I don't remember. I mean, maybe we have had something like that in the past with the season, but I don't really remember. But I was impressed with that. I think that is a better direction to head.
Yeah.
So we haven't had a chance to play the new dungeon yet, but I've heard really, really good things by everybody that has played it.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a hiccup this weekend with Trials of Osiris, where I guess players couldn't get to the lighthouse.
It was people that went flawless couldn't load into the lighthouse.
So they disabled Trials.
Yeah, because that's kind of a big problem.
Yes. So they disabled Trials of Osiris, and I don't think we know when it's coming back yet.
No, they said it was going to be unavailable until they could fix it.
Yeah. So it could be next weekend. Could it be the weekend after? Could be a month from now. Could be 2 years. Just kidding.
Hopefully they'll have it fixed this week. They have been pretty quick with fixing things like that lately.
They have been very quick.
So good on them for that.
How do you feel about the Contact public event?
I think it's actually pretty cool.
Compared to like Seraph Towers.
Seraph Towers is. I don't really like Seraph Towers that much. This feels like a good old like. Just how quickly can you kill things?
Yeah.
Like no crazy mechanics other than picking up the stuff and banking it and whatever. I'm kind of annoyed it's Cabal.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Well, no wait, does it change?
I think it changes.
Does it change? I just don't like fighting Cabal.
I think it changes. I don't like fighting Cabal either. If they got wiped out, I wouldn't be too angry.
The phalanxes are annoying.
Yeah, I think it
phalanxes
changes.
have always been annoying, even in D1. The Taken ones, the boost, throw you across the edge, and Dreadnought.
Yep.
Speaking of Dreadnought, I hope we get another destination kind of like that.
Oh man, I've been saying for like literally months that I really hope that we get a pyramid ship destination that's like the Dreadnought, except it's a pyramid ship, and we get to like board the pyramid ship and like explore. Yeah. Be really damn cool.
You know, so here's the thought. I was just thinking about this. If, what if each season they added in a little chunk to a patrol space?
Okay.
Like just an additional instance off to the side or whatever. Kind of expand the area.
That'd be kind of
cool.
Because
I feel like that's something we don't... Like, the last thing we got was the moon.
Yeah.
Right?
Which was a fall expansion.
But that was a whole planet.
We're getting Europa?
Yeah.
With this fall expansion that's coming, Beyond Light.
Yeah.
Something that we didn't really touch on when we were first talking about what's coming is the fact that they are phasing out old Destiny 2 content to make room for new content, as well as bringing forward some Destiny 1 activities and destinations. Cosmodrome, I think, is the first.
I believe that's what I heard.
Yeah, I believe Cosmodrome is the first destination that's being brought forward. I'm super stoked with that.
That's gonna be awesome.
I know I saw some discussion on social media. I say discussion lightly because you can't entirely discuss things properly on social media, but some talk about people being disappointed that they were reusing content like it's lazy. But I don't know. One of my favorite destinations that was added to Destiny 2 was the moon. and it was a new take on an old destination that I was familiar with, but there were new spaces and new enemies, and it looked different but the same, and it was kind of this really cool, exciting nostalgia, but also like fresh.
Yeah.
So personally, I'm all for it. Bring forward Vault of Glass, bring forward old raids, but also give us brand new content. It can't just be old content brought forward.
Yeah, it's got to be a balance.
100%. Like if that's the majority of what they're doing, it can come across as lazy.
Yeah, but at the same time, like when you think of Destiny trying to be like an MMO,
Yes.
and MMOs, those original areas are always used.
Yes.
And there's a feeling of familiarity with it and solidarity where that part of the map, that part of the game doesn't go away.
Yes.
So it feels more permanent.
Well, so they did kind of say that, well, a long time ago they said that they want Destiny to be an ever-changing world and something more along the sides of an MMO, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think this is just kind of pushing more towards that idea where they're merging Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 kind of spaces and worlds so that it's almost like you're dropping the two, but you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's almost like it's becoming just Destiny. But officially, I believe they're keeping the two.
That's a weird... it's been a weird journey for this game.
Oh, man. So we were talking, I think it was yesterday, we were talking about Destiny 2 and the launch of Destiny 2 and the weapon system, or maybe it was even this morning. I think we were talking about this morning when we were getting breakfast together, and I was like, you know, they had a really good system in Destiny 1 with primary weapons, special weapons, and heavy weapons, or power weapons, or whatever you want to call them, because it changes all the time. And everybody really liked that system, and everybody really liked the way the game was set up. And sure, Destiny 1 had some issues, but it feels like Destiny 2 has had issues.
Mega issues.
So it was really, really risky and ballsy for them to completely overhaul everything that was what Destiny was for Destiny 2 launch.
I remember them talking about, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure I remember them talking about the development of D2 and how because they had made it a new game, they had to, like, work backwards again. Like, that's... Yeah, I remember this now because they were doing stuff in D1, right?
Yeah.
And they were in development of D2 at the same time.
Yes.
They figured out some issues with D1 that people wanted, like, changed. They fixed them. And then by the time D2 released, they had to fix those things again.
Yes.
So, like...
It's just so crazy to me how you
now
had,
they're, like, going back, like, really going backwards to try and...
You had, like, this... Just the way that everything worked in Destiny 1... When Destiny 2 launched, nothing was the same.
Yeah.
Like, you had 4v4 Crucible only, 2 playlists, competitive and comp, which was 4 game modes, or 4 game modes.
At the end of the day, it was basically a different game with some similarities. And now it's going...
It's just
kind of
it's
back
crazy
towards
that
D1, but also
it's almost
not.
all reverted back to Destiny 1.
Except for most of the quality of life stuff is all... like new.
Yes.
And we're grateful for that.
Well, and there's lots more to do as far as PvE content. There's, lots of different game modes and stuff they added for PvP from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2.
Well, even the way inventory works, the way gear works, I think it's a more mature system, and everything works well, but it's definitely still a long ways to go, which is crazy to say about a 7-year-old game.
Well, there will always be areas to improve, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same in everything we do, in everything we see. Nothing's perfect. But I think, actually, this is a good time to talk about the leveling system in Destiny. And I had a realization Tuesday, actually, when the season launched, I loaded into Destiny and I did the first mission and I was wowed, and then it took me to the public event and I did that and I was like, this is kind of cool. And then it said, go play a Crucible game, then go back and do some more public events or something, and go play some more Crucible or Strikes. And I'm like, whoa, this is a new season, and to level, I have to do content that I've literally been doing since, Destiny 2 launched? Like, the same Strikes, the same Crucible maps. Yeah, they've added some along the way, but at the end of the day, like, none of that stuff that I'm doing, except for the public event, is new.
Mm-hmm.
And the mission I do once, so it was... I got bored very, very quickly. There were some error codes and stuff that definitely didn't help. Things weren't running very smoothly, which is to be expected the day something launches. But I was disappointed. I didn't have expectations, really, but I was somehow still disappointed because I realized that I'm bored of the core Destiny activities. And then I thought about it, because Pete, we had a discussion that evening.
Yeah.
Because I was like really bothered by it, and I realized that it's been 6 years of us doing basically the same stuff. Strikes were pretty much the same in Destiny 1, possibly a little harder, and Crucible has been fairly the same, and the sandbox hasn't changed a ton in the last little while, and things just feel really stale. So I'm, as much as I really want to grind the dungeon and grind, trials when I feel like it, and, play raids and whatever, it just feels like the stuff that I have to do to get there, I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is just me probably making things up, but I feel like they've been having to allocate so much time and effort towards creating content for expansions and seasons, i.e. like cosmetics, different weapons, all this stuff, and then like the story missions that they decided to put in there, and fixing problems, that they haven't been able to focus on the core gameplay much. And by core gameplay, I also mean different like Crucible modes. We've had the addition of Scorched, like in D2 they added Scorched,
Mayhem.
Well, Mayhem was in D1. I'm talking additional ones, like brand new ones. So like Scorched, Survival, Countdown, Showdown. Is that it?
There was the one where you have to capture the breakthrough.
Yeah. Lockdown.
Yeah, but those ones were like part of the Crucible Lab stuff where they were testing. I think they get rotated through now, right?
Well, I'm not exactly sure like what went through that, whether some of them made it or not. And I don't know whether it's a tough problem to crack even that one, because with matchmaking, if you don't have enough players, you can't guarantee, like, people might be waiting way too long for a match. But I feel like there's not as much expression in the way of like new game modes or new ways to play. Every time you do any mechanics in stuff that's not a raid, or even in raids and in dungeons and in strikes, it's like, is there a plate to stand on or a ball to pick up, right?
Does this boss bop me off the edge? Probably.
But I mean, in Leviathan you had a bunch of new different mechanics. In Crown you had one new mechanic basically, which is the crystal. What's the latest raid? Garden, you had the box mechanic, and like those are all pretty new. That's why I think, over us not playing Destiny much, doing raids has been pretty fun and refreshing, because it's something a little different. But then again, if you do Garden X amount of, like, so many times, those mechanics are going to get stale as well. And especially with public events, like the public event with the new one, there's not a whole lot different about it. It's a bunch of different modes put together.
Yeah.
It's champions showing up, moats on the ground, kill stuff, pick up the thing and dunk it as well.
How many seasons are there in a year? There's 3 and then an expansion, right?
Yeah.
So this probably isn't possible with their current staffing and resources, but I would love to see dungeon raid.
Yeah.
Which I know is probably impossible, but I feel like that would really, really help people fill the time, because you need endgame activities that are fresh and replayable. And then you also need, I mean, we were talking about the core activities. You also need fresh leveling and core activities as well. But I think maybe the answer to that is making you level faster.
So this is another thing I wanted to talk about is it kind of segues us into talking about Final Fantasy, but since we've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy, I've just kind of been reminded of how MMOs work, because I haven't played one since WoW. And when a new expansion comes in, what happens is, since your level isn't really tied to your gear, not the way Destiny's is. Like, now you don't even have a level requirement.
Yes.
And you don't actually level up. You just get better gear. You do the story part, and that will give you enough experience to get pretty much to the max level of the expansion, but you may have some side quests to do or some extra grinding or whatever. And then you're at max level, basically near the end of the expansion. That would be the goal. Whereas in Destiny 2, with a season coming through, okay, you have a new level cap. You do the story, and you've gone up maybe like from last season's cap, maybe you've gone up 10 light levels.
Yeah.
It's probably not gonna be much. And then what? Then you're left with your powerfuls for the week, which is content that's existing.
That's old. Yeah.
Right? And that's how you power level.
So how do you think that getting rid of seasons, and Bonsai's really loud this episode, guys. I'm sorry. You've probably heard him walking around and nudging the table and whining.
With my boot earlier.
Yeah, he's just... Anyways. Do you think that they could do one expansion a year, one fall expansion a year, without the seasons, but have it be similar, where the story is long enough that you level up mostly through the story, and then you have these other activities that you can do for special rewards if you'd like, similar to how there's like dungeons and raids and stuff in an MMO. You could have like cosmetics and things that you get from those, or special gear sets, or...
So I was thinking about that too, and the tricky part about that is that Destiny 2's infrastructure as a whole doesn't really support that model.
Yeah.
Because cosmetics aren't as much of a thing. You have your Eververse stuff and your Bright Dust stuff, but there's really nothing from earning. It's like, this is what we've been talking about lately as well. We wish there were more cosmetics in Destiny that you could get by earning them. Ornaments that you can put on your gear by doing whatever.
Yeah.
Before, we kind of had that, and I think it fell by the wayside. Like, I don't know if you remember, the first set of Crucible gear had ornaments, and you only got those ornaments from doing specific things. And I'd like to see more of that come through, as opposed to, hey, is it in the Eververse store and you have enough Bright Dust? Like, there's how you get it.
I think they actually did address some of that. Moving forward, they're planning on adding more cosmetics that you can earn, but I don't know like how much that's going to be, or...
Yeah, we have no details as far as how it's going to work.
But that's something that I would really love to see too. You know, sparrows that you earn from doing activities. There's some right now, but there's not a lot. Ornaments that can go on any gear you own. You know, special raid sets. The raid gear always looks pretty cool. Yeah. But I would love to be able to use maybe collecting a whole raid set unlocks the ornament, so you can apply it to any gear you want.
That'd be sick.
Like, why can I not use this cool looking raid gear?
Because it has crap stats.
Yeah, right.
Like, well, they did talk. They want to add transmog, right?
So
like that needs to come. But we were talking about this as well. That we've been asking for that for literally 6 years.
Yeah.
So if it like.
How, like, when is it? When do you see it?
When is it actually going to come? But also, what about the other things that would make this game a lot better? When are they going to come? We don't know. But the one thing I was going to say is, unfortunately, that kind of model doesn't really work with Destiny because there's less density of content.
Yes.
The way Destiny, there's a high fidelity in the environment, in the story, in, like, for example, how many guns there are in the game, and where they come from, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, for example, in MMOs, there's maybe like 8 or 9 different classes you could play as.
Yes.
Therefore, you can reuse all this other content just to get another class up, or do this. You're gonna have to do stuff over and over again, and there's actually a viable reason to do that. And then the other thing is, you can fit so much more in an expansion for WoW, for example, or Final Fantasy. Whereas in Destiny, I don't think that's a viable option with the pace that we've seen in the past of how they can release content. They attempted that with Taken King, I think it was like the first big expansion. There was a big gap between that and Rise of Iron, if I'm remembering correctly. Was it not Taken King and then Rise of Iron like the next year or something?
I think so.
Let me look that up.
I think the one thing that I keep going back to is... I'm just going to leave this so we can cut this part out.
No, they can hear the click-clack. Who cares?
Click-clack?
Yeah, it was literally a year apart. It was a year.
Okay. There's nothing really in between?
No. Was there anything that you remember that was after Taken King? I don't.
No.
So they didn't...
I think I truly believe if they added, like, really, really dope, either special, like, endgame weapons, like pinnacle weapons, but, like, actually harder to get.
Yeah.
From raids, from doing maybe different raids, like something you had to do a bunch of different raids for, and then like really, really cool cosmetics. I truly think that people would grind those out in between like content droughts. Like in content droughts, people would grind out cosmetics, grind out titles, like different things. I know when I was in a content drought before, like I didn't really know what to do in Destiny. I just started grinding titles.
Yeah.
But the problem with some of the titles is a lot of that stuff is really monotonous, and like I don't want to just spend 10 years in Gambit, like especially when I did Dredgen, when you had to do 3 resets in one season. They've changed that now, but like that literally ruined Gambit for me. Like all I did for an entire season was play Gambit to get Dredgen, which was my first title, and I never wanted to touch Gambit again.
Yeah.
Like
so I think looking at the way Destiny is, it's a very unique game, and I don't think the solution for Destiny isn't going to be the same as others, but we still can look to other examples, kind of see what we would want them to do. And I think the main thing is producing content that is feels, if you're going to make the player do monotonous things that aren't going to be as enjoyable because you have to do, say, 200 of them, like 200 strikes or something, make the reward feel worth it. Like, very worth it. And things that can take a lot of time but also show an achievement of that time.
That's what
Right? That feeling, it's like you did something and the reward is worth it. For example, like if you are grinding a title out, it's just a word behind your name. But if you were to grind out that amount of time to get this crazy armor set that's really flashy, then you know what I mean? Maybe it'd be a little more.
Everybody knows, right? What you did to do that. And I think that's Like,
And
titles are cool, but
the title shows that as well. But at the same time, it's not as individual. And then the other thing I was thinking, like, is there space in this game for? I know some people will laugh at this, but like for crafting, because if you followed me playing Final Fantasy, I've been doing a lot of crafting. But just thinking about it, like something that requires skill of a different sort, a different type of skill, like a management skill or time management skill or resource management or whatever, to produce something that's unique and customizable, i.e. maybe to be able to craft armor sets that are uniquely colored, or like special shaders that allow you to pick which parts of the gun or the piece of armor that you're coloring. But to do that also requires some time investment to achieve, like, I don't know, some crafting rating to do that. And then maybe you could do that for other people. That's another thing we haven't seen, and this kind of segues into something that I know they've said they'll never have, is trading.
Yeah.
And I can understand that, especially from not having like some sort of infrastructure, like economy infrastructure or server infrastructure. That's not going to work. But
well, it also, I mean, you've seen people pay, in my opinion, ridiculous amounts for recoveries of different things. It become like a
real money business.
It'd become a real money business. Like, you grind out this 1K and people would pay like $1,000 for it because they couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And I know that they don't want it to go that route. I don't know. It's tough. I personally would love to see more story and just more like really awesome cosmetics and ornaments and just things that like show what you did. Where you're like
that's how I've been
time
feeling.
like I spent time in this raid, and when you do 50 raids of that type, you get an armor piece or a glow or like something you can apply to the raid gear, like something for like investing time, some reason to replay the content that gets you excited to replay it because it's getting you closer to a goal. Versus just like playing to level, because I know even when we play fairly casually, it can take a while to get to max or whatever, but you don't need to be max for most of the things. The artifact means you can generally just hand in bounties and not really grind powerful stuff and still get to be pretty high light. And for most of the old content, you don't even have to be leveled. So like I could go run Leviathan, anytime I want, but why would I? There's nothing from that right now that drops that I need, or that drops at a power that is worth me grinding, or nothing that cosmetically I can apply to anything else. So unless I really, really enjoy Leviathan and feel like it, why would I run it? So I'd like to, that's actually another thing I'd like to see is maybe like, how Age of Triumphs, they had like rotating powerful raids, like rotating powerful content that like every week it's something new. It's like a weekly playlist of different activities that will drop you like powerful stuff, so that it gives you a reason to play the old stuff, but you're not just doing it for what, I think we need more reasons to get excited about jumping into older content.
Yes, on top of
providing new
content.
I don't know how hard it would be to implement like a rotating thing. I would assume it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Who knows?
The other thing I want, like, I don't really know how to do this. I feel like the ships coming in at the tower is like a close try to it.
The live event.
Oh yeah, but I was just gonna say, even if you get a cool ship or a cool sparrow or your armor set's cool, it's not very prominent.
Yes.
People don't really notice it anyways. So I don't know what would be an equivalent. I mean, I know the one thing I've always liked about MMOs is like glowy ass weapons. I know not everyone likes that, but like having a weapon that's like really glowing and like lightning around it or something.
That new sword.
That's pretty dope.
The one you get from the Umbral stuff.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
It's giant and it's glowy and it's like as tall as your Guardian. I had it on today and I was running around and I was like, this looks really badass on my back.
What if you could get like, oh no, that wouldn't work.
Well, okay, think about like you know, from the guns you get from Reckoning, how they have that like little like kind of glow like liquid in them, like that kind of thing. Siva type ornaments. Like maybe something like Graviton, where like the lights.
I want weapon ornaments that you get from achievements.
Yes.
Keep going back to that, but like 100%. Like you walk in and someone has some crazy weapon with this crazy looking ornament, and you know that they just, I don't know, got 1,000 headshots with that weapon or something.
Well, I mean, even COD has something like that, right? Like you unlock skins for getting achievements. So like that would be cool. I would like to see more of that. Just stuff you earn from playing, and I really do think that they can, because they've been talking a lot about avoiding like fear of missing out for more casual players.
Yeah.
But there's this really weird balance of having enough content for your hardcore players while not, you know, pushing new players or casual players away because they feel like they just will never keep up.
Yeah.
So I really do believe that like cosmetics and titles like and things that are flashy that you can show off is that real endgame content for hardcore players. Like, give them something to grind to like be like, look at me, because like when we
what else is there?
Especially when we've been running around Final Fantasy, there's so many things that catch my eye, and I'm like, whoa, how did they get that mount? Whoa, how did they get this? Whoa, like that pet is so cool. Look at that armor set. Like, look at their glam. Like, it just, there's so much stuff that is just wow. It's just a wow factor. And Destiny's such a beautiful game. And the cosmetics that they have put in the store, some of them are really cool. And we know that they can make them. It's just kind of how they could possibly implement it into the game in a way where it's cool. I think that the closest thing that they had to something that was like a show off, whatever, show off an achievement was like the auras that you would get for like completing the Nightfall or whatever, or like your armor glowing when you've gone to the lighthouse. And like that's kind of cool, but I mean, it only shows up on Trials armor, and I have to wear stuff that has good stats. So
and
most
you can't
of the time,
do ornaments for Trials armor.
No, so most of the you see the restrictions. Like most of the stuff is just not. You can't apply it to all your things. Like it definitely it has a long way to go. But I think that would really, really help with content drought, is just having really damn cool things to grind. Yeah. Like thinking back to Destiny 1 and thinking about like the ornaments from the Crota raid, they were so cool. Even shaders in Destiny 1, like Gloku
the Siva
and
stuff too. Even the Siva armor.
Yep, super cool.
That stuff was nutty. So, I got reminded when we went and did Wrath of the Machine. We went back to the tower, and the Warlock had the Siva stuff, and it was all like shifty and like moving and
so
stuff.
Cool. So cool. So, I mean, we've seen them do it in the past. I know it's possible for them to do it. It's just, if they can get the resources and get it together.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's, we're along for the ride.
Oh, like, yeah.
It's not like we're leaving Destiny, but I think they also have made it more casual friendly as well. Like, you can hop in and out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Pretty easily.
I definitely think, you know, we said this in stream a lot, and we're definitely looking at Destiny as more of a casual play a few times a week game versus like this is our game. Yeah. And I think we've been there for a long time, even though we were still playing like mostly Destiny. It was like we're not only Destiny creators. Like I think I looked at what we'd streamed over the last 30 days, and there was like 15 different games.
There's 15 games on it.
Yeah.
I was checking out at arsenal.gg, and I think it was 15.
Yeah.
Over the past month.
And I actually made a tweet the other day where I was like, you know, maybe one day we'll be known for something other than just being Destiny streamers, right? Because like Destiny's where we started. It's definitely been something that we're super passionate about. A lot of our community has been built around Destiny, whether you know it was coming in through stream or coming in through friends that we played with or whatever.
Over the last, it's been about like over the last, I would say close to 6 months. While we have been quote unquote mainly playing Destiny, we've been playing different stuff.
Well, we've been playing
here, there, and everywhere.
More than just Destiny for over 2 years.
Yeah.
Because when I went full time, I realized very quickly.
Once you went full time, basically.
I realized very quickly that I couldn't play Destiny all the time because there wasn't enough content, and I was bored. We also played a shit ton of Fortnite. We did, yeah. But we've done so many different things, and I think something that was really exciting for us this past weekend was. Saturday we streamed a Destiny tournament, and that was super fun. Shout out to Magic for putting that together. Magic Unicorn, you can find her on Twitch at magicunicorn_. Good friend of ours. She put together a really fun tournament. Everyone had to use different weapons, so if Pete was running a hand cannon, I couldn't run one, and etc. So it made for some interesting loadouts and some pretty silly gameplay and some trolls and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we had a blast, and we went from that, and at the end of that, we swapped to Final Fantasy. And I actually think that we hit a higher viewership in Final Fantasy by like one viewer.
Yeah, not much,
but by like one. Than we did playing Destiny, and it was a tournament, so there was more people coming through to watch from other streams and stuff too. So I don't even think we would have hit that number if we weren't participating in that tournament. So it was really, really comforting and cool to see that like something that we were enjoying, other people were enjoying as well. The Final Fantasy directory has been fantastic. The game itself has been a blast, but the community surrounding the game and in-game and in the directories on Twitch have just been so welcoming and helpful.
Well, I think this like 50-50 split between two main games being
that
Destiny
are super
2,
different.
Destiny 2 and Final Fantasy is absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
If the balance swings harder one way or the other for the week, I'm really not mad about it.
Yep.
If like one week we decide, we'll only play Final Fantasy like once on stream this week because there's a lot of Destiny stuff that we want to do, no problem.
Yeah.
And if it goes the other way, no problem.
Yep.
So. And they are such different pacing, and I'm really enjoying streaming an MMO. So, like, let's get into that a little bit. We started playing Final Fantasy 3 weeks ago.
It was probably about 2.5 weeks ago.
2.5 weeks
Steam
ago.
Says 2 weeks ago, and that would have been when we bought it. So it would have been about a week before that.
Played about a week on its own launcher. So
maybe about 3 weeks.
That's been fantastic, and I heard about Final Fantasy as an MMO for the first time with Final Fantasy 11 back when, I don't know, like 12 years ago or something. I don't know. That might be a made-up number, but it sounds about right to me. 12, 13 years ago. And when I saw it, I kind of had this idea anyways. I was like, it's like, because I played WoW shortly after. It felt like a more like mature WoW.
Yeah.
Like it seemed more complicated. Like there was a lot more going on. I wasn't a huge fan of the art style back then with Final Fantasy 11. And then I kind of heard about Final Fantasy 14 when it was coming up, but from what I understand, it wasn't that great. And then when they did Realm Reborn and kind of revamped the whole game, then it got a lot more popular and people, it's a thriving community now. And playing it, I see why. Like, there's a lot to it that makes it a really great game.
You know what I think is really crazy is I'll log in and I don't even have to be doing anything.
You don't.
Like, I can just go to, like, a city and, like, sit there, but I'm having fun.
You can, like, people watch.
It's
like,
really
you can just sit there and watch
yeah.
people walk by and, like, look at them. You're like, oh, what do you got on?
Yeah, there's so much, like...
What minion do you have? Whoa, what is that?
Interesting stuff. Yeah, there's just so much interesting stuff to see. The world and the game itself is beautiful, and the glamours and everything. We were talking about this, like the wow factor. Like, there's just so much cool stuff that people have.
Yep.
And I love progressing. You know, we have a free company or a guild. I love progressing that. I love that there's so many classes that we could level up. And how easy it is to switch between them, and the crafting. Actually, I've never done crafting in any sort of game before, and well, I did a little bit in WoW, but this has been much more enjoyable.
This is way better.
It's just all of it. Cooler. I mean, and like we were saying, the community's so nice. They've helped us in dungeons when we don't really know what we're doing. You know, they'll say, like, come over this way, like, do this, whatever. And whereas my experience in WoW was people being angry because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, you know, we couldn't have had positive experiences.
There are really
in
awesome
WoW,
people in the WoW community.
but I haven't had one negative experience in Final Fantasy in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Not from the directory, no one coming in through the stream, and not from in-game.
And it's not that we haven't had engagements with people either.
No.
We've had we've like talked back and forth with people in random dungeon matchmaking. We've met people randomly in the world that ended up coming through stream.
Yep.
A shout out to Ace, our first Final Fantasy friend. Well, that's 4 Fs. And then people that came through stream and then are now helping us out a lot on Final Fantasy. Shout out to Nico.
Yep.
And anywhere in between, and that none of them have been bad.
No, everyone's been super kind. And I've participated or watched things in game that I never would have even thought of before playing.
You can hook up a MIDI controller and play the Bard's instrument.
Yep.
That's wild.
So I attended an in-game concert the other day, and it was like four to six people playing instruments and just like doing a free concert in one of the cities for people just because. And everybody came from different worlds because you can world transfer, and everybody came in and everybody was just watching and dancing and cheering and emoting and chatting in the box, you know, in the chat. And I was like, this is such a cool like bonding community experience.
Well, there's something really special about the way MMOs work, where you have a server, a world server, and that does not shift. There are no instances. There's no disconnect from other people. Like everyone on that server is in that server on the location, in the location that they are. So if they're in the world, like in the city, they're always going to be in the same city. It's not a different layered city.
Yep.
And that like provides more opportunity for, you know, you can run into the same person multiple times.
Oh, I've seen the same people all the time.
All the time.
Which is really cool.
And then when you want to like go visit somebody, you just see where they are and then go find them.
You can just go find them.
When you're scared Mysterious.
Right? We were, I was watching Mysterious's stream, and he started leveling in Final Fantasy just after we did. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to log in and like go say hi. Yeah. And I saw him. I just looked at where he was on my friends list, and I knew what world he was in, and I went over there and I showed up in front of him, and kind of scared the shit out of him, not on purpose, but he wasn't seeing me, so I pulled out my behemoth and rode in front of him. But
well, because you're like 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's just kind of cool that like it's so easy to connect with people and play with people, and you know, in Destiny we've tried to get people into the same instance for public events and different things, and it like literally takes over an hour sometimes it's not even possible. Like for the Seraph Tower event, we got into a 9-person instance on the moon.
Only took us like half an hour, but
it took us like 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, we ended up having to have someone else who's in the instance help us out.
But like, man, it feels so good to just be able to like go wherever you want, and you know that you can you'll find your friend there. Yeah. If you know where they are, you know you can find them. And we've had that happen with people in stream that are chatting, and they see like we're gonna go do something, and they decide they want to come help us, and they just show up in front of you, and it's like whoa, and you see the name resemblance, and you go, oh hi, like it's just really cool that it's so easy, and maybe I just have never really played an MMO before, so like to me it's really really cool.
This is a real experience and that's like the cool part about MMOs.
Yeah.
And that's something you didn't get a chance to have with when we played WoW.
Yes, we didn't play it for very long.
One, we didn't play for very long, and two, like we were kind of just like trying to go as fast as we could through everything as well.
What was I gonna say?
I was gonna say it's also easy to stream.
It's like, super easy.
We were worried that it wasn't gonna be that
That's
easy.
That's what I was gonna say. I remember.
But because I think we might have had trouble streaming WoW just because it's not as much to focus on. So the focus has to be on chat, but it's a lot easier when now that we've grown a little bit, we have more of a base. It's a lot easier to chat with people, hold discussions up while you're doing anything, basically.
Well, and also the fact that we're learning. So we're asking questions, and there's people in chat that are willing to help, and there's kind of conversations happening about non-game stuff and game stuff, because there's just so much that's new.
Good mix.
It's a good mix.
Good huddle.
Well, I'm going to take a few steps back to kind of before this conversation about how and why we got into Final Fantasy, because we didn't really talk about that. So we, for the last about 2 years, I think this is the second, I don't know, a year and a half, from whenever I went full-time, honestly don't remember, but we were kind of trying to do, like, daytime content was just me, and I was kind of, like, playing a lot of different single-player games, and our evening content was mostly Destiny, and then we were trying to push ourselves to create duo content that was different than just an FPS, because I think it's very important to constantly push ourselves to try new things and to improve our casting skills, because if all we ever do is play an FPS, or all we ever do is play Destiny, when it eventually, there's no more support for Destiny, or we don't want to play it anymore, like, what do you do? But two, it's your overall skills are going to be better the more you're challenged, and the more you're learning new things and new skills and how to deal with things, and whatever. So we were trying to do some different co-op games and stuff, and it kind of just got to a point. I mean, it took us a while to get there, but it kind of just got to a point where I'm like, I think we're almost too variety. Like, there's no like real continuity between what we're doing, except for during the day I'm alone, and when we're together, we're together. So, I mean, and that, people say variety is the spice of life, and variety streaming is what everyone wants to go for. And that's totally valid. But I think that it was really not hurting us, but slowing growth, because it was like there wasn't enough continuity.
It was like too sporadic.
It was too sporadic. So we sat down a while back, and we were talking about what is coming out over the next year or so that we want to get into, and how can we kind of prepare for that, and what can we do to make our content more consistent while still being variety. Like, we still can do different things, but kind of like zone in on the things that we actually really enjoy, because I feel like I've played enough different types of games now to know what I really like, and what feels good with stream, and the things that I've had the most fun with. So for me, I've always really enjoyed Nintendo titles, and I think that one of the reasons for that is that's what I grew up on. I grew up playing Super Nintendo and Game Boy and all that stuff. So for me, it's like nostalgic, and there are so many Nintendo titles that I didn't get to play growing up. So Zelda Breath of the Wild was my first Zelda experience, and I know it's absolutely nothing like the other Zeldas, but I fell in love with it, and I kind of fell in love with, like, the Zelda universe and the characters, and I'm excited to go back and play Zelda Link to the Past, because it's something, for me, it's brand new, but for a lot of other people, it's something that they've played and can connect with, and that's what it's felt like for most of this new Switch titles, and even older games that I'm getting a chance to play for the first time. But for everybody else, or for most people, it's nostalgic, and they're like, I'm so excited for you to get to this point and see this. And so I've really, really enjoyed that. And
well, one of the games that kind of cemented that, I think, was A Link's Awakening.
Yep.
Because they remastered 100%. It on Switch, which we actually kind of played together. But
and Luigi's Mansion was another one.
I remember, like, we both really enjoyed Link's Awakening. One, that was my first Legend of Zelda game on Game Boy.
Yep.
But like you're saying, that's the type of games that you like. And here's the thing too, like, knowing that you like that one, that's basically the basis. That's the foundation of all Legend of Zelda games, is that, like, you do the dungeon to get the thing, and then there's another dungeon after with some other story bits mixed in between. And if you like that, then you're gonna like the rest of them.
So yeah, so we kind of decided that like, and then I've really really enjoyed things like Ori, and the sequel to Ori Will o' the Wisps, and platforming games, platforming puzzle games. I think are kind of like my jam. So I decided that that's the type of stuff that I'm really gonna zone in on for my solo content. And I think that that's a really good decision for us because
I think so.
I absolutely love those types of games, and I'm still very open to playing whatever I want. And if there's a certain game that I really don't feel fits for a stream, I can just play it offline. Like that's something that we started doing.
That's something that recently. Before I move into that, I just wanted to say that it also helps with you not getting burnt out on the main games that we play, because if like when you're playing Destiny during the day and then I come home and I want to play Destiny for like 4 or 5 hours, you're like, well, I've already played for like 6. I don't. So, but yeah, what were you saying?
Playing games offline.
Playing games offline, yeah. So like fixing up our schedule a little bit so that we have time to play games offline has been really good, because there are games that I like to play, and I know games that you like to play that aren't necessarily games that we want to stream.
Yeah.
For example, you don't like this game as much, but I'm kind of it's especially I've heard the latest patch isn't that good, but playing Warzone.
Yeah, and I would say like the equivalent for me is like Valorant.
The equivalent for you is Valorant. Playing them on stream doesn't really work so well, but it's not like we want to play them all the time. You just want to play a little bit of it, and that's very easy enough to play like 1 or 2 games, 3 games after stream or before we go to bed or whatever. So yeah, I think we're kind of dialing in our formula, so to speak.
Yep, 100%. And like I said, it took a while to get here. We did a lot of whatever we wanted or whatever we wanted to try, and I think that it's really important for people in content creation and outside of content creation and just in life in general to like try new things. And if you like it and it works, like, you know, spend more time doing those things. And if it's not for you, that's fine. But I've definitely learned a lot about the types of games that I really really enjoy, and what kind of works well with our content and who we are and our brand, and what kind of games I enjoy playing, but I can just do it another time. And I'm sure that there will be certain games that I pick up that don't fall into those categories and decide to stream. But you know, I feel really good about kind of dialing in on a few main types of content, or types of games or whatever. So I guess Blue Protocol and Genshin Impact.
Oh yeah, that's what we started trying to talk about that, which is a couple games that we're looking into to release this year, or that are going to release this year. We just don't know when. And we think we are registered for the closed beta of Genshin Impact, the last one. Didn't manage to get into the one for Blue Protocol, but so from what I understand, Blue Protocol is going to be basically MMO structure. Have no idea anything about the story or anything, but it's essentially Sword Art Online in an MMO, an actual game.
Which is
super
exciting.
It looks amazing. It looks absolutely phenomenal. The aesthetic is really good. And then Genshin Impact is kind of like Destiny, but Legend of Zelda plus anime.
Yeah.
Kind of, because it's like, it's instance, like people can join your game.
I think you can play with up to 4.
With up to 4 people. But I think it's a little more linear. It's not like an MMO. It's not all free roam. So,
which I actually think is going to be really cool for us to be able to do together.
Well, we can like always play, like at least have 2 of us.
Right. So super excited about those 2 games, and we were kind of, when we sat down to talk about the types of content that we wanted to focus on and how to kind of have some continuity between what we were doing, we wanted to look at what games we were excited for that were coming out, and those were the 2 main ones. And then Destiny, of course, has always been something that we've enjoyed, so we want to continue to focus on that, you know, here and there.
You were starting out with why we decided to stream Final Fantasy.
Yes.
So
yes, this is what I'm getting at.
So we were looking forward to these games releasing, and we knew it was a drastic shift from Destiny to these totally different type of game.
That we've literally never done before.
Never played before, never streamed anything like it before. So we weren't really sure how it was going to go down. So we decided to pick up something that was similar but still existed, and then also had a directory that existed. So we were looking at World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy.
We looked at a bunch of other MMOs as well that looked kind of intriguing, but they just...
Well, those were our top contenders, because we looked into everything else. Either they didn't have a directory, or we just weren't really feeling it, didn't really like the aesthetic. And for example, Black Desert, I don't think Black Desert's really my thing.
I played a little bit of it. It's not my thing either.
I played a little bit as well. I can't remember what other ones we looked at.
I think we tried... Oh gosh, there was another one. I don't know. It was bad though. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. Regardless, which kind of partially by happenstance occurred after we switched from Mixer, and there was actually a directory for Final Fantasy on Twitch, which is nice. Whereas I don't think there is really one on Mixer. I don't think there's many people that stream that there.
I think there's really many people that stream much anything on Mixer.
No. Especially now.
Sorry, guys.
Damn, that was savage. Okay, so anyways, we're looking in between Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft, and so when I was looking into it, one, since I had already played World of Warcraft, part of me was like, yeah, I'd like to play it again, but then also realizing that a bunch of that urge was due to wanting to nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
And then also hearing about how bad this current expansion is for retail WoW, and then classic WoW would just be the same WoW I played before, with other things that about it that aren't that great. And also World of Warcraft PvP was always what I really enjoyed, and I knew if we played WoW, that's all I would want to do, because I also knew that you can level with PvP, and then it's whatever. So
well, I think at the end of the day, one of the major reasons that we decided to not go with WoW, apart from that, was that we didn't feel like WoW viewers, like people that came in from the WoW directory, would really want to jump into another MMO and watch that. Like, just knowing what, like, from our discussions about playing WoW and whatnot, it just kind of seems like WoW players are WoW players. Yeah. You know, so... Which
could, like, over an average may be true, may not be true. Maybe Final Fantasy is the same. But regardless, that was definitely how we felt, and that's how I kind of viewed how WoW players are, being one myself.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we picked up Final Fantasy because it's something new. Yep. It's an MMO, somewhat familiar to me, but there's also so much new about it. It's really enjoyable, and the PvP side isn't as popular. Like, there's not as many people that really take that part of it all that seriously, so I'm glad to not have that kind of be a push for me to try and play PvP a lot, because playing PvE is a lot more relaxed.
Yep.
And
well, you have crafting, so it doesn't matter.
And I have crafting, so I can be a competitive crafter and increase my HQ percentage. So my HQ ratio.
We kind of made a little bit of a jab at Mixer there, about viewer directories and whatnot. I don't think it is any surprise that we have seen a lot of people kind of jumping from Mixer to Twitch. We were pretty open in our announcement video about us switching about a month and a half ago. And even before that, I mean, it was something that we were thinking about, which is the main reason that we were doing, one stream on Twitch a week. Was kind of getting people used to the platform, starting to build a little bit of a community on Twitch itself, and also kind of getting people to come over and like follow beforehand so they didn't miss us moving and whatnot. I think we've seen a lot of negativity from people being mad that people are leaving.
Or like, even if they're not mad, just being very like condescending, people shitting on the opposite platform. There's just a lot of negativity around the whole conversation, and we've been discussing this a lot as well. Overall, brand loyalty is just a very, I don't know, it's not very self-serving, and it's not very useful for anyone other than a lot of the time not even the brand itself, unless it's a positive brand loyalty. If you're willing to talk good about your platform, that is completely fine. But when you start getting into slander about the opposite platform, is there really a point to that? Is that a person showing that they're insecure about their platform, so they feel the need to talk down on and dismiss the other one? I don't know. Like, it's obviously different for every case, but having too aggressive of a brand loyalty like feeling just doesn't really help a lot of people out out of like the majority. And
yep. Well, I've seen people tweeting that people have like basically yelled at them for leaving, like viewers and friends, like, and
it's too much about my team, your team.
I think I think the main thing that I wanted to say, because I think it's important for people to hear, is you guys need to take a look at your content and figure out what works for you. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or what works for them. Mixer will be a better platform for some people, and Twitch will be a better platform for some people, and YouTube will be a better platform for some people, and Facebook, there's so many options, and maybe a year from now that changes. Maybe your content is different, or you've grown and you feel as though a different platform will work better. And it can kind of suck to try to like tell your communities that you feel that way, because it's a change. But the people that are going to only support you on a certain platform really, like, they don't really support you.
No. They support the platform, and that's it. Those people aren't there for you. You're convenient to watch just because you're on the platform that they pick. That's basically what they're saying, because it's easy enough to have both apps on your phone, or have both browsers open, or tab over. I know it's a lot more typical to see, especially streamers, go on, like, just look around on their same platform, right? Because that's the platform they stream on. They're probably going to be watching on that same platform more often than the other one. But from a viewing perspective, like, if I want to just go watch somebody specifically, then I just go to wherever they are, wherever I know they are.
I just want people to be good to each other, because I've seen a lot of negativity surrounding what platform people pick, and like super passive aggressive subtweeting of things. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, what works for you might not work for somebody else. And I don't really think that it's a secret that Mixer as a platform hasn't made a lot of the changes that they need to make, and is struggling in viewer growth, and like, a lot of people, I think, are feeling held back by the platform, and other people may look at that and say that it's their own fault, maybe that they're not good enough or whatever. But like, at the end of the day, what works for you might not work for them, and I think when it comes to people who are trying to grow in various directories and provide more variety content, it's very difficult to do on Mixer right now because of the directories. And that was one of the main reasons we left, and it's one of the main reasons that a lot of people that we've spoken to have left. So I think people just need to respect others' decisions in what they feel is right. And, if they're your friends, just support them. Mm-hmm. We still go to Mixer and hang out in people's streams, and, people from Mixer come and hang out in ours. It's just different URL.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one tab away.
How many websites do you visit in a day? Just add one more.
The analogy that I try to use for platforms is that a platform is your tool and your vehicle. It really shouldn't be more than that, and if it is, then that's a different situation. If you're actually in a situation where you're partnered so tightly with the platform that they are integral to your success, then that's your situation. But for most people, and I would say for the ideal situation, you don't want to be tethered to a platform that hard. They're providing at the end of the day, they're providing the infrastructure to allow you to do what you need to do. If we could all host our own websites and stream off our own websites, and that would work well enough, then we would be doing that. But they provide a place where everyone can stream. They use their servers, etc., etc. Anyways, the point I'm getting to is that the platform that you pick should be one that fits with you and works with you, and you can use to get to where you want to go. But that's not to say that the other vehicle that someone else is driving isn't going to do the same thing for them.
Exactly.
It's no different, and at the end of the day, it's like what you said, like, just support each other. Don't be a dick about it. There's no Mixer saying, we're going to destroy Twitch, and Twitch is like, we're going to destroy Mixer. Like, it's not a one or the other war going on. Right? No. Like, there's no need to signal to your master that you're all for them and will destroy everyone else.
I just want to say that I wish everyone the best of luck if you're moving or if you're staying wherever you are. We'll always try to make it by and pop in and say hi when we can, regardless of where you are. Just be good to each other. Be good to yourself and be good to each other. And that is the name of this episode, Be Good to Yourself, because I think a lot of the things that we talked about today can kind of go back to that. It's important to take breaks from destiny. It's important to take breaks when you need them. It's important to take a look at what you're enjoying and do more of that. For us right now, that's been Final Fantasy. It's important to be good to yourself and be good to each other and do what's right for you, and support your friends. So just be good to each other. Be good to yourself, be good to each other. I think we need that, especially right now. Yeah,
100%. Alrighty. I think that'll wrap it up for this one.
Absolutely. I hope you guys are staying safe, and we will see you next time.
Peace. Thanks for listening, and we hope you guys enjoyed it.
If you want more BxPete, we live stream regularly at twitch.tv/BabexPete, where we do our best to entertain you and foster an awesome community.
You can find us on Twitter at Babetron_ and Petron_, and on Instagram and YouTube at BabexPete.
You can also find all our content in one place at babexpete.com.
Peace.